But yeah, so thank you. As you know, I'm the head of marketing for BrownSense. And we're really just trying to engage with our membership, which is made up of, I would say, majority entrepreneurs, and just kind of really trying to educate people about the different stimulus packages that are available, the grants, the loans. There seems to be quite a bit of confusion about around what's available and how to go about accessing it. With that said, there's quite a bit of money that's been made available. So yeah, so I just thought I'd reach out to you and hopefully get a bit of clarification from somebody who knows best. So yeah, thanks for making it. If you could just,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks. So if you could just introduce yourself as well, just, I know who you are, but if you could just introduce yourselves for our viewers.
No problem. Thank you so much, and thanks for the opportunity to me. My name is Colin Leshou. I am the Provincial Manager for SEDA Gauteng. SEDA is an agency of the Department of Small Business Development, so we are doing business development in the country. SEDA has been around for the past 14, almost 15 years, and we service clients throughout the country. So we've got a network of branches, 55 branches throughout the country, and we service them throughout.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Colin. So if you could just take us through the various relief packages for small businesses that are being offered by the government. I know that there are grants, and then I know that there are also loans, and there's quite a bit of confusion as to which ones are the grants, which ones are the loans.
Correct. Okay, so from the Department of Small Business Development, what Minister did was, with COVID-19, and when we really saw how it's impacting our entrepreneurs, she then requested that we look at what we do to assist them in this time. And that was when two funding instruments was birthed. One is on the SMME Relief Fund, and the one is the Growth Fund. Now, besides these two, that I'm going to speak on, at length, there's another one that we're looking at, and that's really essential services. So what we are saying is that people that is, making masks, or they are doing hand sanitizers, or they could, assist in refurbishing ventilators.
Yeah.
So we see that as essential services. So there's also a request for proposals that went out on that one. And the closing date for that is on the 30th of April. What we would like to achieve with that is to see that entrepreneurs or small businesses are also able to come into that, supply chain, be it as fully manufacturing or basically for raw materials. But ultimately, at the end, we want to see them, also getting part of that.
Okay.
In the two instruments that was established, which I've said is the Growth Fund as well as the SMME Relief Fund, they are funding instruments and they are loans. But they are loans that come at a preferential rate. So when we say that, then we mean that it's prime minus 5%. So meaning they will most probably pay 3-point-something%, in terms of the interest rate. So the SMME Relief Fund, quite straightforward. It is for guys that, they are in effects. They're not able to service their debt as they're supposed to. They can't pay their salaries, etc. And therefore, we would then say that, they are in distress and they need relief, and therefore they would qualify to apply for the relief fund. And you've got the guys that they're okay. They are able to still do what we're doing on a daily basis. But they don't have extra cash to grow the business. And therefore the growth fund, because we know that if someone is able to grow the business, they would be able to employ more people.
For sure.
Ultimately, at the end, we want to see people being employed, because there's a lot of people that's being affected by this. And unemployment is going to just, rise even higher than it is at the moment. So those were the two funds that was created by the Department of Small Business Development. We've got something else that's lined up also for entrepreneurs, and that is our informal sector funding. That one, they are still, it's in the process of being re-engineered and being together. I'm sure by the end of this weekend, they will be done with that, and that would also go live. That is also because we realize that for the informal sector, we need to have something as well,
Yeah.
to make sure that they are also, not kept out of the loop. They should be able to also apply for funding, and make sure that they are able to, let their businesses stay open. I think that this thing has really made us aware of the real issues that's out there. As an agency, SEDA has also started with a survey that it has done to understand what's happening on the ground,
Sure.
to also just, get people's opinion, and especially from entrepreneurs and small businesses, what it is that really makes them not being able to, thrive. Is it only COVID-19, or was there issues before COVID-19, such as load shedding? Because we're looking at COVID-19 now, but COVID-19 is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
There could have been other issues that we were facing as well. It is important for us to understand that, so that when we come up with more of these relief packages, we really, do it in with the entrepreneur or the SMME in mind.
Yeah. I like what you said about load shedding and other factors, and not really looking at COVID-19 as an isolated factor, because the fact of the matter is that small business has been in distress um, before COVID hit us. It's just that the might with which it's hit us kind of, we see the effects much quicker because of the lockdown. So I think a lot of us will really appreciate that government is really looking at this holistically, or government agencies are really looking at this holistically, and also appreciate the agility with which SEDA is looking at this and kind of constantly reworking the model. And I think it's the only way to really do this, because we've never been here before,
True.
So I think it's really important that, even small business needs to be agile, you know what I mean? And I think we're speaking with a lot of people about how to COVID-proof your business, whether that's possible and what needs to happen for that to actually be effective. So I like that government is actually thinking that way. It kind of goes away from this positioning or this narrative that government is a dinosaur that just can't change, that can't, um, uh, 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 you know, bend to different kind of situations. So that's really cool. And then, so I just want to talk about compliance. I think a lot of small businesses have a big problem with compliance. You'll find somebody, so for instance, we've had people that run transport businesses, transport for kids, and they say they're in business, but the company is not registered. Or they employ 5 people or 6 people or even 7 people, but they're not registered for UIF, or a host of things, or their tax is not up to date, their income tax is not up to date, or their various taxes are not up to date. So there's a lot of things, and I know that for businesses to be eligible, they need to comply with these very basic administrative requirements. But we also know that realistically, a lot of small businesses do not comply. Um, doesn't mean that if my business doesn't comply, that I can't apply. I can't apply for assistance at all, or can I rush to pay my taxes or rush to register for UIF and then apply?
So, in fact, that's one of the things that we looked at, and we really, had conversations and lengthy conversations on them. So there's a portal from the CIPC which is called Biz Portal.
Yes.
It's at www.bizportal.gov.za. So what's happening is that CIPC actually introduced this portal so that people can have this one portal that they go to in terms of UIF, tax, CIPC, etc., SARS, and so on. So that portal will then assist them in terms of registering and getting themselves ready for whatever they need to have ready. think the one thing for me that I can say, which is almost a non-negotiable, because one of the qualifying criteria is that you need to have been 6 months in operation. So that's the only one. I think the others, there's always ways that we can assist these guys in getting themselves
Yeah,
compliant with, if it's SARS, if it is UIF, if it is
yeah,
other things. The one is you should have been operating for 6 months. The only way for us to really know that you're operating for 6 months is if you are registered with CIPC.
mm,
Where we are not going to look for registration now is only with the informal businesses.
okay,
And then we are going to assist them to get them registered and being a registered business. So, and that's the only thing that I can really say is going to be an issue. Besides that, honestly, because we know people, it's either that they don't know how to get these things going, or they don't have enough money to pay their taxes, or they don't know how to, engage with
sure,
SARS and being able to pay the taxes. So we want to make it easy for them. And we want to say that if you find it difficult to do that, there isn't a solution and an opportunity now for you to get all of that sorted out. So
yeah,
that doesn't leave you out of the process. You can still apply. And we will then work with you to get you to the point where all of those kind of things are in order. Even something as simple as, because a lot of people would send us emails and stuff and say, I've got a judgment, or I've got a ITC, whatever is on ITC. Would I be able to apply? Yes, you are able to apply, as long as you can show that you have made, first of all, an arrangement with the creditor that you are owing, and there is some willingness from you to settle that debt. Because that's not the determining factor for us. For us, it's really, is the business sustainable? Will it create jobs, or has it created jobs already? And how do we make sure that it really contributes to the economic growth of this country?
I really like, I registered a company using the Biz Portal. I already had a CIPC profile. And then I registered a company using the Biz Portal, and I thought it was really great just because everything was so centralized. I have to admit, with my other business, I've never in my life registered for UIF. I never, it just seemed like such a schlep, you know what I mean? And like, I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's just like, I've got to get things done. I've got to, if I'm in manufacturing, I just
Correct.
focus on making stuff and manufacturing stuff. If I'm selling, I'm just going to focus on selling. So things like UIF for people like me, it just seems like, dude, no, so I really like the Biz
Yeah.
Portal website because it just really made things really easy for me. Um, and I can proudly say that my company is registered for UIF even though I don't have employees.
Yay.
And then that leads me to my next question. If I don't have employees, is it still compulsory for me to be registered for UIF? So if my company is still small, or I subcontract a lot of things or a lot of functions in my company, do I still need to be registered for UIF?
I would say yes, because if we get to a point where we are now with COVID-19, you are registered because now you are sole proprietor, or you are one-man business, and you need to, because you draw a salary out of the business, you need to then pay UIF on yourself, because in times like this, you would have been able to claim your salary from the UIF. And
Mm,
this is what we want to teach all entrepreneurs and small businesses, that is so important. Remember, even something as, we might think is simple as insurance. If you look at, how do I make sure that I've got a retirement fund when I retire? Because
mm,
as a business owner, you're going to retire as well. And
mm,
for small businesses, there's not really a product in the market at the moment. And
yeah.
that is what we're looking at. How do we make sure that even when a small business owner retires, that he retires,
Mm,
she retires, having that confidence that I'll be okay.
mm,
I don't have to stress on where money is going to come from to pay certain things. And that is what insurers need to think about, and they need
Yeah,
to really look at how do we then include this 2.65 million entrepreneurs that we've got in the country.
for sure.
And those entrepreneurs need the same kind of, assistance and products that is out there for others. So that for me is very, very important. And just as much as the UIF portion is important, because we never know what's going to happen. You as a, small business being alone, you can hurt yourself.
Mm,
And then for months, you are not able to work. What are you going to do then? Therefore, you
yeah,
need to then pay that so that in that time of distress, that you are able to claim from the UIF.
yeah. Okay. And I learned something new today. UIF is not actually taking away from you, it's giving back to you. I think the mindset generally is like, yo, I can't afford to lose this money. I can't afford to be paying this money. When actually, it is part of planning for the sustainability of your business and planning for even the growth, the scaling of your business at various levels. So I think we just need to change the way we think about things. Um, and then, I mean, a number of people have kind of flagged that, you know, I've applied, I didn't receive a reference number. You know, is there a way to retrieve the reference number, or is it that once I've applied, don't worry about it, we will get back to you, we've got a backlog, or what is it? Is there a way to retrieve it?
So as things stand currently, we've got over 81,000 registrations on the SMME
Mm,
SA portal. Now that is the first step to the whole process. That means that when you register on the SMME SA portal, that you're registering on the database, meaning that that's a database that the Department of Small Business Development have created so that we start having statistics of how many small businesses there are in the country.
mm,
Because if you look at it, that data was never really there.
yeah.
We rely on the data from CIPC, but CIPC only have your registered CIPC businesses. There's
Mm,
no, businesses like your informal sector, like now, it's
yeah.
not registered. We now want, information on them. So that's the first step. Then from there, it will give you a reference number, call it a unique number. Once you've got the unique number, now you are eligible to apply for two funding instruments, which is the debt relief or the SMME growth. Um, I have been sending out as I can, to people the form. The form is also available online on that SMMESA portal website. So they've got a choice. They can either do it online or they can do it on the manual form. Once you've completed the form, on the first page of the form, it is basically where you can pick whether it's for the growth fund or the debt relief fund. There's also two email addresses on that first page of the form where it tells you if it's for the growth fund, it goes to this email address. If it's for the debt relief fund, you need to send it to that email address. Once they've received those, because I can tell you, if we started receiving applications in the last 7-8 days. So there has been communication where they give you a reference number. I know that they are inundated with applications at the moment.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they're going to deal with that, because that is a CIFA.
Mm,
CIFA's doing that. What I would suggest, because this is what I have done for some of the entrepreneurs that have been reaching out to us as SEDA, is that there's a WhatsApp number which I'm going to give to you, and they can then ask to be added to WhatsApp group, so
okay.
that at times when there's information, I will then share information with everybody and make sure everybody's on the same page in terms of, people might ask, so I've applied, what's happening with my application? I've got a direct line to CIFA, and I can go to CIFA and ask, listen, guys, are you guys sending out reference numbers at the moment? If they say no, we're aware that people applied, we're not sending out, then at least I can make people, feel a little bit more, relaxed, knowing that, okay, if I've applied, that's fine. But I also think that WhatsApp group it's a great initiative, because now we have where entrepreneurs could share with one another as well in terms of some of the things that they do it becomes a networking platform as well. They can network with one another. I think in terms of this, it's new to all of us, and we really
Yeah.
try and make sure that we give as much information as possible. People need to see me visible as the head of SEDA in the province. That if they need information, I shouldn't send them to 10
Sure.
people below
Yeah.
me. I should be able to respond to their queries and respond to them immediately, so that there is that sense of we are getting the assistance that we need.
Yeah.
What I would say for now is, if you have not received a reference number for the CIFA when you've sent the application, because remember, you've got the reference number from the SMMEs website. That's fine, as long as you've got that reference number and you've attached it onto your application. For now, that's fine. I will, because there's quite a number of these that came through the last day or so. I'm going to speak to the CIFA colleagues and ask them, are you guys sending out reference numbers? And I can use you as, a link to me,
For sure.
to some of your people as well, in terms of just making sure that they always, are kept in the loop with what's happening and how things are going to unfold. Also, just to give you a little bit of more info on that. So what's happening is, if you've applied and it's a straightforward approval, we'll then communicate with you it's approved, and then it will happen that you get the funding. Also, what's happening is that, remember, with CIFA, normally it takes up to 3 or 6 months. In this case, it's going to take 14 days for you to get an approval or an outcome.
Yeah.
So we've really worked to streamline this and making sure that people don't have to wait, because COVID-19 is here. It's not coming in 6 months. It's here.
Yeah, it's happening right now.
Then, if it's not a straightforward approval, what's going to happen is that CIFA will be sending those applications to SEDA to assist where they see there's merit in the application. And SEDA will then assist the entrepreneur or the small business to get everything that CIFA is requiring from them together. Then we will resubmit that application. If it was a straight out decline, CIFA will give the reasons why they're declining the applications. In that case, unfortunately, we can then not, do anything. But once CIFA then comes to us and say, SEDA, here's 100 applications. These applications have merit, but there's certain documentation that's outstanding, or want more on the cash flow projection, that we will then come in and assist the entrepreneurs. Whether they are a SEDA client or not, that's not important for now. What's important is that we assist all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
With this COVID-19 relief.
And then, what would you say the best way to illustrate the loss of income for for any number of businesses?
Mm-hmm. So in most instances, there would be contracts. And in most instances, people would say we cannot honor contracts that we have. So we go a lot on that. In cases where that's not, possible, we would look for other proof that there was loss of income.
Yeah.
So if you're saying there's loss of income, we're just not going to take that, okay, there was loss of income. There must be something that shows that, indeed there is a loss of income. Sometimes there is no, contract. We also use purchase orders where there was a purchase order maybe that was, given, and all of a sudden people come back and they say, unfortunately, we are unable to, go through with this purchase order or honor this purchase order, so therefore we are going to cancel it. Such things we're definitely going to look at.
Okay.
And I mean, proof could be in any form, as long as there's proof.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then one more question is, what kind of companies, I don't know, I think this might be a little bit abstract. I'll try to describe it so you kind of, what kind of companies qualify for the relief? So we've had people who are Uber drivers, for instance. Let's say, do I qualify to apply for relief? Or people who are delivery partners with Take-A-Lot, for instance, that say, my business stopped because obviously during the lockdown, we weren't making any deliveries. Do those people qualify, and do service-based businesses such as your accountants or your legal firms, do they qualify as well?
So let me start with Uber and also, for instance, your courier guys or guys that's got contracts with DHL or Takealot, etc. If it is an Uber owner that's got more than one car on the road, and therefore he employs people to do the work, that person would qualify. If it is a person that's an owner and also the driver of the car, again, this is where the UIF is coming in. You should be paying UIF so that in this, because you're literally getting a salary out of the business. So that in cases like this, that salary then or UIF kicks in. What UIF has done also is that there is quite a number of, or a lot of information in terms of UIF and how they're going about with their relief, because they've got a scheme as well. And maybe I should share that with you so that people can see that as well, that there is relief from the UIF as well. And at this point, I would say, because what the word was, whether you registered or not, let people apply and we will go through those applications on a case-by-case basis. So I would then ask those people to go through UIF funding, because you would understand that these people are not really registered as businesses. Unless they've got a business registration with CIPC, and they can show us, because in most instances they don't really have financial statements, so they can't really show me what they've done. They don't have management accounts, meaning that it is going to be very difficult for me to get them to understand or to get them to realize that, you know what, even as an Uber driver or an Uber owner, if you are a real business, then you will have to do these things so that you qualify for this funding. But in the absence of that, I would say go for the UIF funding, because there is UIF funding that could potentially assist. And this is where it really becomes important for us, to me, where we have to engage these people and educate them in terms of how to run these businesses, because they are businesses. And for them to, because this is not the first and the last funding that's going to be available. So any kind of funding for business, how do we make sure that they also qualify for it? Because ultimately what we're doing now is we're saying to them, you know what, there is help available, but we are not going to be able to help you now until we get you to do the right thing. And it breaks my heart to do that, because ultimately everybody is affected by COVID. But I'm also just thinking of being realistic, because that application is going to go through to SEFA. SEFA is going to ask the hard questions.
And they have to.
And they have to. They have to. So that is why I'm saying, as a nation, as people that's dealing with entrepreneurs, is our responsibility to make sure that we get them to understand all of this and get them really to comply with what they need to comply with, so that in times like this, they are able to then also, benefit from any kind of interventions that's out there.
Thank you so much for making time to speak with us. I really hope we'll be able to have another chat soon. I think, from what you've said, there's quite a lot. I think you gave, quite a bit of detail, and I'm really glad I reached out to you. I think there's quite a bit that we can do with with SEDA, to just ensure that our people have all the right information, and that we're making as much information accessible to them as possible. So thank you so much, Colin.
Thank you. Just before we go, there is obviously other government departments with their own relief schemes, such as the Department of Tourism, Agriculture, Arts and Culture, etc. So I will be sending on that information to you as well. Because I do believe that, information is going to really assist our people so that they can make the right choices. They are able to benefit from this. and that they are not left behind.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you so much. Before I go, is there a cap for funding, a monetary cap?
Yeah. So basically what's happening is that we work on CIFA's cap. The CIFA is 5 million Rand per transaction, and that's what we're working on.
Okay. Thank you so much, Colin. I'll speak to you soon.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
Thanks to
you.
me. Thank you.
Okay,
Keep well. Bye.